Welcome back to the 55 and what we're hoping is a very exciting day to the point where I even put chipmunk cam up, so this better be good. We're hoping that that is going there today, but we still got to deal with getting the transmission on it, and we got to check and make sure that we're happy with this cross member. But outside of that, we're really hoping that that's what's happening today. So stay with us. Let's see how this goes. As we can see, if this goes above, these definitely need trimmed. If it goes below, you could probably get away with it. So I think these are going to get plated and welded. So there's that, and you can see where that used to be, where somebody had put a 3-speed shifter through. So, okay, we were curious about that. Yeah, that definitely comes close to that floor. Okay, real quick, we're doing a couple things. One, we're verifying that I've got the correct spline, because this is what I'm going to use to actually put the clutch in. I'll show you that later. If you have an actual input shaft, it is a lot better than these little plastic doohickeys. You know, and you can see it's the same. But this will definitely locate it better. So, wanted to verify that. The other thing is, we're ever so lightly, very, very little grease everywhere, just to help with this assembly. Put a little bit on the clutch ball, a little bit on the fingers, and then when you go to put the throwout bearing on, you're going to look on here, and you'll see there's a couple different clips here. You're going to be tempted to do something like that. And that's not going to work, because see, it's not going to rotate. What it actually does, these actually push out. So see, when that slides in, eventually, because it's new, see now, it can rotate, because as it moves, that needs to stay facing forward. So, when we go to slide this in, you'll see she'll be able to push, because this is the face that actually pushes on the pressure plate. So as she goes in,
big end, huh?
yep. So see, when you push on her, it slides it out flat. So that's an important thing to remember. Okay. Well, we had to pull the bell housing to get it on here. That's a real hard one to get on the pivot point that's on this Lakewood bell. So we got her on. We're happy. It's weird how this goes down like that, but whatever. It is what it is. So we're going to slide her back on. One thing that mattered was just making sure that there's no dust or anything here. We want this to register straight. So now we should be able.
Aren't you upside down?
Yep, I am. That's okay though. That ain't gonna hurt nothing. Guess why?
That's why that goes up like that.
There we go. Yeah, just throw one in to kind of hold it. Probably the easiest one, which of course is this one here. Okay, and now what we're planning to do is Loctite these guys. This scatter housing here, it is heavy. It is definitely not your standard 621 aluminum bell housing, but we don't want it coming off. We're just going to put a little red on each of the bolts. And then we're even going to look up in the manual the torque they wanted. I'm going to judge by the size of the bolt that it's probably in the 55 to 70. Well, it won't be 70, but it's probably 55. But we will look it up. All right, we've got those torqued. And now one of the other things you want to know out here, instead of up in the car, is does your clutch disc fit? It should, but the one time there's a burr or something on a mandrel, that's the one time you're going to be under a car and you gotta go to work tomorrow. You can't seem to get anything. So, let's see, there she will. Must be catching on the plastic yet. Trying not to touch the friction material at this stage. There we go. Okay, and what we note is there's no resistance, it slides freely, which is what we definitely want, and she engages well. Then the other thing we're going to check is our tool also slides freely, engages well. Alright, you probably saw it in Chipmunk Cam, but we just installed the pilot. I'm going to explain what we did and why. For starters, we put the pilot itself in the freezer for about 40 minutes because that's all we had, because that shrinks it. And then I took a little bit of heat and heated the crank just to expand it a little bit, nothing crazy, don't want to damage seals or anything. And then, since I had an extra input shaft, slid the bearing on there. You notice it's got a nice little recess to ride on that. Use that to get it started, just to get it started. Then we went to the back of a socket, but I wasn't happy with that. So then I went and grabbed part of a bearing installation tool that luckily I brought with, and then used that to drive it in flat. So now the bearing's in there, and we happen to know that it works because we can do that. So, and there is a little rubber O-ring type seal on there, so it will want to hold on to it. But yeah, that worked. We're very happy with that. Oh, at least. Okay. Next thing is, if you remember on Bartley's, the Bent 69 car, that MSD phasable rotor cap came off. So we're worried about that on this too, because this also has a phasable rotor cap. So, just going to pull that screw and Loctite real quick. Okay, so we got her on moto feet real quick so that I could do some of the checking I'm doing, because we do have this catch plate for the scatter shield. The thing I wanted to make sure was that we were going to reach our pilot, and as I slid her in, I could totally feel her grab. So, let me bring her back out. Yeah, and you can see we're on the pilot pretty good. So, pretty happy there. We're going to get ready to install the flywheel and pressure plate, clutch disc, get this bolted together, and we'll do our hopefully last test fit. Alright, next thing we're doing is we've got our scatter shield on, just one bolt kind of holding it, because when the transmission goes on, that does the actual hold. But the next thing we've got to do is go ahead and put our flywheel on. And one of the problems you have with these things is keeping them from coming off. So we're going to put the ARP Ultra Torque lube only under the head. Oh, it does have instructions, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to take a little bit of the Ultra Torque here, if it'll come out. Nope, almost. There, now it'll come out. We'll put that under the head of the bolt. And then we're going to take some red Loctite. We're going to put it right on the threads. And we're going to drive that sucker in. And do that to all of them. And once they're all in, we're going to torque them to 75 foot-pounds. We're going to do it in a couple sequences. Alright, come on. And this is critical. All of the power of your engine is working against these bolts. All the vibration, everything. So it's pretty important that you get this right the first time. I've dealt with cars in the past where, well, never a flywheel, but flex plates. I've had flex plates back out and seen and dealt with that before. If I recall, at one point it was actually a common problem on those 4-liter inline 6 engines on Jeeps. You know, the bolts would back out. So take this very, very serious. But we will get this all put together. We will get them torqued. And yes, this ultra lube stuff, it's just messy. There's nothing you can do about that. It's like a molly grease or something. Well, come. There we go. And you don't have to kill it on a Loctite. Also, this red Loctite, it's not easy to get out. It's not as bad as the green, but you definitely will fight this. So don't put this together until you're ready. So there we go. I'm sure this is making for great TV. Come on, Red. No. And then we're also, when we do the clutch, because as soon as this is torqued, then he's going to clean the flywheel off. It's been sitting for a little while. This project's been going on for a little while. You don't want to squeeze that too hard, so you're always taking it a little easy. And then it's not as big a deal with a neutral balanced flywheel like this, but that dowel location can be very critical. So make sure you pay attention. This one happens to be neutral balanced, but if it wasn't, this would really be important. So then I'm just going to take, kind of loosen these down a little bit. The other thing we're going to definitely need is the flywheel tool. I'll show you that in just a second. First I'm going to start knocking everything down. Okay. So you'll see nothing's really tight yet. Also crisscross pattern, just like as if you were doing a wheel. Always bring things down nice and easy. I know I grabbed a socket for it. So we're going to start nice and easy, around 30. Now 30 I don't necessarily need a flywheel tool, but I will shortly. And we're just doing this in nice easy steps. So that was 30. Now this is 50. And then the way the flywheel tool works, as you can see, break it apart. See, if you do this and hold it, see which way the engine wants to go? If I'm torquing against it, see how I'm going with it? So then you would just, and then it gives you something to pull against. It's really great under the car to have one of these instead of trying to fight a screwdriver against a bolt. And they're cheap. What are they, 20 bucks or something? I don't remember. But it's a great tool. Okay. Then we're going to go for a final. Which is 75 foot-pounds. Which I'm sure you notice it's just a little bit more. All right, next thing we're gonna do is show you a trick. We check which holes the pressure plate uses, and I just threw a stud in one, which is just a piece of all thread, or you can cut a bolt. That's just gonna be my other hand. Because, here, wanna hand me the plastic alignment tool? It's in that bag right there. Okay, we're gonna do our torquing with that. But I'm gonna show you how this works with this. So see, that gets located here. And this surface is sprung, and this surface is pushing hard against that. Unless the throttle bearing pushes on these levers, which warps the metal and releases this, so this pulls back out. So, we're going to start the simple way. Put the weight here. I'm going to take one of the bolt. Okay. And then we're going to play the funny game. Pull that out. Or grab that. Work on getting her located. There we go. Okay. Now these are a special bolt. You're going to get a little bit of Loctite. Not a ton either, just a little. Then we can get it to come out. So worried about squeezing too hard on that. Now, one thing you're going to want to do with the pressure plate is as soon as it starts to kind of grab a little bit, let's go to another bolt. You really want this to clamp down evenly. We're going to tighten this in phases. Well, we'll look it up, but normally these guys are around 35 foot-pounds, but we will look it up for this application. All right, and now we've got everything turned and set up. We're ready to try mating the tranny. It's never fun on these. Crap, now I gotta get this out. Remember I told you about that O-ring? Well, it's real now. There she goes. Yeah, the O-ring grabs that pretty good. All right, so we got the plate sitting on here. No bolts holding it. We're gonna go ahead and slide this guy over. Okay, now, this is the part where patience. So I'm gonna start. Oh yeah, you always forget how heavy these are. I'm moving it on the cart. I'm gonna grab that plastic. Get that plastic off the cart that we keep rolling all over. Easier said than done. Yeah, apparently. Just tear it. Come on, be a man.
A woman.
All right. Okay. Might be better off this way.
Yeah, just change the engine up a little.
No. It's gonna be fine. Just fighting this silly muzzy. Sorry, I'm gonna block the shot here. Let me move it. So, let me swing you up. Hopefully you can see us. I better check. Terrible videographer. Nope. Okay, so once we've tightened these couple bolts up to a point where we're happy enough for now, because we can torque them later. And well, the top ones we will torque. The bottom ones, we're probably going to change those out to something that's a ball end for an Allen. But the point is, on the moto feet, we we were able to do all of this out of the car. Next, time to swing it in. That's what we're dying to do. Well, I'm sure you've noticed that that's still sitting on the floor and that we keep moving the straps, keep trying to get a balance. The problem we're facing is as we pick it up, no matter how far back we try to grab it, it still wants to balance back. And normally that's not an issue. Take your load leveler and you screw it over and you pick it up towards the back. However, with our sling, we don't have that option. So the sling wants to pick it up, and even though we've moved it as far back as we realistically can, well, I guess I gotta tighten that. She just wants to pick up the front. So you can watch here. I'll hold you out here. See, we're starting to take the weight off the feet. You'll see she's coming up on the front, and notice the tranny's just dipping. So we've got that there, and we've got her closer to balance. I mean, I can do it. However, not back there I can't. So we got to rethink this. And here is our solution. We didn't want to do it, but the tranny had to come off. So let me get the other side here. Okay, whoa, whoa. Okay, up. We did remember to go ahead and put this on while we can still reach it. Keep her coming. Okay, she's looking pretty good to come back a little.
What do they do?
Nothing. Okay. Keep it coming. Oh, good. There we go. Got mine. Okay, we gotta start thinking. We can come back a little yet. Okay, stop. Okay, you gotta come down a little. Don't go crazy.
Am I watching that bar? Is that it?
Yep. No, don't you wish those things had like a little switch or something? Whoa! Danny, maybe not quite that much. A little less.
A little up?
No. I mean, don't fall that much next time. Okay, we can't really go back much yet. So go ahead and bring her down a tiny bit. Try not to bounce her too hard. Okay. Alright, let's move her back a little. Okay. Okay. Alright, she's got to come down a little bit. And I will swing her back. Keep going. Okay. Back. Come down. Okay, my side is on the rubber. Is this side on the rubber? Okay. Okay, as you can see, engine's in the car. She's precarious right now. We did have to pull the dizzy cap, but we've got a full finger between the dizzy and the firewall now. So she's going up. Okay, so you can see tranny's getting close now. Alright. So now assuming this is still recording. I hope so. There we go. Tranny is in. The mount's only temporarily in. He's got a weld where they had to cut the tops off. But you can see plenty of clearance. Not going to hit anything. I can even almost get my finger here. You know, but that's a piece of floor that if we had to, we can clearance that, or it'll self-clearance. And then some of these bolts on this scatter shield just are not going to happen. I do not see a solution there we will play with that later, but it looks like we can get this one in, and when we change the oil, we'll get those two in. But these bottom three, I don't see a realistic solution there. And since we're not going to be on a track, I don't know that we have to, because we don't care about an SFI rating. We're just doing this to, you know, hopefully not hurt ourselves. So there. That is an engine and a tranny in the 55. It didn't go as smooth as we wished, but it actually went smoother than we feared. So there. That is going to wrap it for tonight. It's getting a little late for us. Thanks for watching. ShopRock says, put your tools away or else.